My name's Dianne Gamble. I worked at the National Railway Museum for 18 and a half years, developing a love for railways, and I'm about to be ordained deacon in the Church of England. I started working here in a temporary part-time job, not more than 6 months, and wasn't expecting more than that, and in the end did 18 and a half years. Didn't know anything about trains when I started, but quickly fell in love with them. After a couple of months, had my first footplate experience on Rocket and was floating 3 feet off the ground for the rest of the day. I'd fallen in love, and as they say, there's only one treatment, more of the medicine. There's a sequence that you are expected to go through to build up to being on the footplate. It's about understanding safety. So I started as a guard, then as a shunter, then as a fireman, and then about 18 months ago I passed out as a driver of steam locomotives. It's great fun and a great responsibility. You have everyone's lives in your hands, and if you've got a full train that could be 70 or 80 people. But at the same time it's working with the elements of nature, fire and water and steam to create something that's powerful enough to move all those people. And it's just exciting and thrilling and a little bit of danger involved that spikes the adrenaline. It's just good fun. I first felt God call me to ordained ministry when I was about 21. I hadn't been a Christian for very long. I didn't have the confidence to follow it up. I pushed it to the back of my mind, and it stayed there for nearly 20 years before I heard God prompting me again, initially to train for lay ministry as a reader. But as I was exploring that, I just heard God say to me again, what about ordained ministry? And as I explored what that call might mean, God said, yes, but carry on with what you're doing. So I trained, was licensed as a reader, got that experience of leading worship and preaching before I heard God say again, now's the time. When I was on pilgrimage in Israel, having just visited the site of Jesus' baptism in the River Jordan. I've always been able to see the links between a steam locomotive and the spirituality of God. You see water in so many different forms in the steam loco, so you get the stillness of water in the tender that has power infused into it by being heated up and turned into steam, power that can move something big. And it's that mystery of God who's with us all the time. We might not notice God around us, and yet the capacity of God to become something very powerful, to move us in life, to make a difference for us. It's always been there for me. When it comes to favourite steam locomotives, I am torn between two. Stephenson's Rocket, which was my first driving experience, and Mallard, which is the world's fastest steam locomotive, and for me is the picture of elegance and power and steam railways at their best. I'm looking forward to getting to know each of the 5 parishes I'm going to be working with, to get to know the people, who they are, how I can work with them, and what's going on in the communities around them. So in local sports, the farming community, and how I can help them in terms of ministering to them pastorally and equipping them spiritually to live out their faith. But that can be quite all-consuming in a Christian context. So I still want to keep a foot in the real world, and for me that'll be keeping driving steam locomotives, taking that opportunity to do something very different, meet people in a different context, and get my fill of playing with the toys.